Wonderful to be here speaking to all of you. I just want to say, I am the chairman and CEO of Founderspace. We are a global startup incubator and accelerator. We operate in 22 countries. We also invest in startups, and I'm always looking at new technology and change. And one of the biggest topics right now is the Metaverse and Web 3.0. So a lot of people think the Metaverse, because Facebook changed its name to Meta, is a whole new thing. But let me tell you, I've been around a while. I've seen the Metaverse come and go and take many different forms. In fact, the original Metaverse, virtual reality, dates all the way back to 1962, when Morton Hellig invented the Sensorama. And it was a machine that you could, like a virtual reality device, that you would look into, and it would give you the sensation of actually living a movie. That was his goal. They would actually have a fan that would blow wind on your face when you rode a bicycle in this virtual reality machine. 20 years later, Jaron Lanier, he founded JPL, which was the first really commercialized virtual reality headsets. Those did not succeed, but 20 years later, we got Second Life, a whole nother virtual world, which is very similar to the virtual worlds we see today. And in 2009, Second Life was so big that it had over $500 million economy, people buying and selling virtual goods. So everything you hear about today in the Web 3.0 world, this has been done. It's been done before. It's not brand new. The big change is that Web 3.0 takes it and moves it onto the blockchain, makes it decentralized. Now, there are companies like Sandbox, which runs this virtual property, this virtual real estate, and they have now sold over $500 million in virtual land. $500 million, just like Second Life. But Second Life, it went away. It basically still exists, but it's very tiny. Its economy is tiny compared to what it used to be. Why did that happen? Well, people got bored. First of all, technology advanced. Second Life's technology didn't keep up with the latest technology, and people moved on. They moved on to Facebook, they moved on to games. Right now, we're seeing startups like Sandbox and Decentraland selling lots of virtual land and virtual goods. There's also NFTs. Now, what people need to understand is that when you're buying a virtual good, whether it's on the blockchain, like many of today's Web 3.0 companies, or back when Second Life was around, it's still a virtual good, meaning it's only as valuable as the rest of the community thinks it is. When that community stops thinking it's valuable, its value will decline because that value doesn't really translate into the real world. Now, the reason we've seen these land prices, these virtual land prices on the blockchains and NFTs shoot up so incredibly high is not because they are inherently so valuable, but simply because people are speculating. They are gambling. They are gambling on the land. They're hoping that somebody else pays more than they pay. And I will tell you, this whole space is rife with gambling. So if you think of it as an investment, you are honestly fooling yourself. These are not long-term investments. These are short-term speculative moves that will go up and down dramatically. A lot of people will make a lot of money, but an equal number of people will lose a lot of money. It's called the greater fool theory. If there's a greater fool out there who wants to buy your virtual land as an NFT or virtual artwork and pay more than you paid, well, then you can make money. But if you don't know when to sell, hold on to your money. There are other investments that are probably better long-term investments. Now, the metaverse as a whole will continue to evolve. I'm a believer in the metaverse. In fact, Meta, which is Facebook, Microsoft, Alibaba, Sony, just signed the Metaverse Standards Forum. That is a forum where these big companies, these big tech companies, hope to create interoperability between different virtual worlds. Basically have open virtual worlds where you could take virtual goods or if they're on the blockchain, these virtual items on the blockchain like NFTs, and move them between different platforms. That sounds great. That's been the holy grail for years. For years, people have wanted to do this. But let me tell you, it probably won't happen, because how these companies make money is not by allowing you to move assets from one virtual space to another. They make money by locking you in. It's called the network effect. It's why Facebook is so valuable. It's why Google's so valuable. It's why Amazon's so valuable. They build these walled gardens where you have to, the leader in the space always wants to keep you locked in. So they can talk about a Metaverse standards forum and how it's all going to be open. But as soon as one platform becomes dominant, they're not going to want people to move all their goods to lesser platforms that can compete with them. It's just business. Keep an eye on this. The other big problem with these virtual spaces is that their economies aren't sustainable. So there's a lot of them, like Axie's Infinities, which are play-to-earn games. And that what they do is that the more you play, the more tokens you can earn. And supposedly, the richer you can become. Well, this works as long as there's more people joining and more new money coming in than money going out. If the money going out starts to become greater than the money coming in, you have inflation, because these tokens become worth less and less and less. Axie's Infinity, the largest one of these play-to-earn Web 3.0 games, is suffering from extreme inflation. Many of these play-to-earn games have very short lifespans. They'll just put out a bunch of tokens, sell a bunch of goods, make a bunch of promises, and then they go away. Be careful with your investment. That is my advice to you. Thank you very much.
Dear Stephen, thank you. Thank you very much for this wonderful speech. Just a second, please. I hope you are around here. Or have you moved?
I'm here.
Yeah, just a second. Yes, now done. Stephen, I see a book on your background, Surviving a Startup. I think this is also a very important topic, isn't it, for post-pandemic times? Surviving as a startup is, after Mr. COVID started traveling around the world, is a main concern for many entrepreneurs. And you are also the founder space. How does the founder space support entrepreneurs for post-pandemic economies times?
So I am very concerned. I wrote the book Surviving a Startup because I really wanted to give a startup founder all the tools they need to actually understand what's going on. Like, I don't like to sugarcoat things. I like to tell things as they are, as you can tell. Founder space, what we do is we take in early stage startups, we educate them, we help them with their business models. We are really focused on companies that have long-term sustainable value creation, that aren't looking to make quick money, but really are making products that are valuable to society, and that those products will be around in 10 and 20 years. That's what we want. And so when we select startups, we are focused on that. And when we find startups, and I find them all the time. I'm traveling in Europe now, and I've seen a bunch of startups that I want to bring back to Silicon Valley and connect to our incubators in China and help raise capital for. These startups really will end up making a big difference in society, especially post-pandemic. There are so many new opportunities. The world is opening up, although we need to be aware right now, the financial markets are in flux. It's much harder to raise capital if you're a young startup, so startups need more help than they ever did before.